So, hello again everyone. Quick intro into this video. So, the FX Impact is what's prompted this change, if you like. This is my FX Impact M3.25. I've had this for over a year, I think now or so, and as I've owned it, I've sort of been pushing it a little bit more, if you like. And now I'm currently shooting Zan 35 grain slugs at 990 feet per second, and that's producing, I think it was about 78 foot-pounds of energy, so it's got a bit of oomph behind it. Now obviously at that sort of power it's consuming quite a lot of air and making quite a bark, so I thought it's about time I looked at changing the silencer. Now, the factory silencer that comes with it, you would have all seen before, is just this hollow aluminium tube. Certainly in the UK that's a standard silencer. It may vary in a couple of different countries. I think in the US they might supply a Donny FL one, but check out in your own area. Anyway, this empty tube silencer, as I've said before, actually works amazingly well. It works really well for what it is. But it got to the point where obviously it's barking quite really loud, and I thought it's time to change, or certainly to have a look. So as you all do, I went on the internet and I went on YouTube and had a look at various things. Now with my FX guns, the obvious answer is to buy a Donny FL, which I certainly considered and I looked at. But the more I looked at what was on YouTube and so on, the more I got that everyone, you know, it was just common that everyone was using them, so I wanted to have a look around. There are a few other options. Huggett is the obvious answer. I guess there's others, 0dB, Humor Air, lots of different variations. But I've always been a fan of Huggett products, certainly silencers. I've always had one on my FX Wildcat. This is an FX Wildcat Mark 1 in 12 foot-pounds, and it's had that silencer on there. Now I actually took this silencer off of here and put it onto my FX Crown Mark 2 for quite a while, and it did a great job. But I was always a fan because this is empty, I just fire it off. Now this is a 12 foot-pound gun, and I mean, I can click my fingers louder than this makes a noise. It sounds just like it's farting, like it doesn't even, like it's not working. If you picked up and fired it, you'd think it's not working, there's something wrong with it. But that silencer works amazingly well. So I reached out to Huggett Precision Products, Huggett silencers, okay, and emailed them about what I had and what I was looking for, etc. And they were tremendously helpful. So after several emails and so on from Mr. Huggett himself, Andrew Huggett as well, absolutely superb help and so on. Full disclosure, they actually sent me free of charge in 0.22 and 0.25, so I can't thank them enough for their generosity after speaking to them and their help via emails and so on. So they sent me 2.2 and 2.5 of these, a Huggett Mini Magna and an Astille. And also with the Astille you can get extra sections if you like to make it bigger, and they sent me one each of those for each caliber. So full disclosure, I actually didn't pay for these products, but when I was talking to them, the Astille was the one I was interested in because it looks different than every other silencer. Okay, there's the Huggett Mini Magna. It looks pretty much the same. It's just a cylinder. It looks gorgeous. I'm not saying it doesn't, it really does. But it still looks different, doesn't it? And it's one of those things, you might like it, you might not like. I looked at it, and when I looked online, this one, for the sound, actually had one of the best, if not the best, sort of reports. So I thought, yeah, let's ask them about this and go over one of those. So not only did they send me one of those in 0.25 for the impact, and also 2.2 for the crown, they also sent me mini Magna as well. So I can't thank them enough for their generosity in that there. So what you're going to see here, I'm going to try and fire them so you can get some sounds. Nothing scientific, it's just going to be what you hear on the camera, what you hear on the cameras and so on. I've also got my little action camera. I'm going to put down range, see if I can pick up anything. I've got a meter on the iPhone. I've not done anything yet. I'll see what I can pick up, and whatever I think's of value I'll put on the video. And then at the end I'll tell you my honest, and it will be my truthful and honest opinion of the product and what they're like. So that's where we are. I'm literally going to fire them now. I have had these silencers for a good couple of months, possibly even more. So I've really had a good chance to use them, especially on the crown, because the impact's been sick and been away. It's come back repaired. Long story there. There's a video on its own to be done there. I sent it away to get repaired. After about 3 weeks, like they said, yep, it's done. I picked it up, took it out, went to the scope on it. It had a different problem that they'd engineered into it. I sent it back. Yes, they sorted it very quickly after a week because there was a bit of a problem with that. But they've still not actually solved the original problem. I'm going to show you, I don't know if you can see. There's my first regulator, if you can see the arrow on it. It creeps like hell. When I sent it off, I couldn't set it at anything. When it come back, I did set it at about 90-ish. Let's dry fire it, see what it does. It's just stayed right there. Sometimes, here we go, it changes to my regulator pressure. I set it about 90, 190 bar. It's got a mind of its own, so it's got to go back for that. Now that's unfortunate. It's not on the gun, it's the people who have been working on it that's caused that. But let's not, I can go on about that forever. I'm going to turn off now, see what kind of recordings I can get, and see what I can put up on the video, and let you know exactly what I think about these moderators. And I'll try and get some recordings with each of the moderators and the original moderator, but I don't think on camera you'll actually hear any real difference. I never have on all the videos I've seen. So I'll let you know exactly what I think of them, having had them on the guns for a good month or two now, and put that towards the end of the video. I'll see if I can get anything that might come up that's worth showing on the video now, and well, let's see, and I'll catch you later. That is quiet. When you're listening to it here, shooting at it in the air, the tone is so low, that's really quiet. That's quiet, isn't it? Yeah, that's even quieter. That's why I decided to probably keep this one on here. This magazine, man, this magazine. Not bad, really quiet as well. I think, just to my ears, I like that one better. That is quiet, that is quiet. Okay, I'm just going to shoot a few more shots at a block of wood I've got that's only 20 yards, 25 yards away down there. But the rifle's in my favourite configuration. So this is the FX Crown .22. I shoot NSA slugs, 20 grain slugs. It's shooting them at about 965 feet per second. It's about 50 some foot-pounds of energy, I think. So quite a bit of oomph to it. And it's my favourite configuration out of these, and it's the Huggett Mini Magna. So let's you'll probably see the crack of the wood or hear that as well. It's probably too loud hitting the wood. The magazine didn't cycle, did you get that? Oh, drives me crazy, this magazine. I fire it into the bushes instead of the wood. That's still all I can hear is the bush. That bit of wood's a lot quieter. But yeah, it's a nice low tone out of this moderator. That's what I like. Okay, back home now guys. Let me try and wrap this video up without it going on and on and on forever like all my review videos do. But it's just because I'm trying to get across my thoughts and everything that I've come across in looking at these sort of products and giving you the information that I think is relative to you guys out there. Okay, so first off let me say with the video I did put an action camera further down, 20 yards down, to try and capture sound, but to be honest it picked up more of the slug or pellet or whatever hitting the trees or going through the brush, and so I'm not going to put any of that footage in there. Again, I did measure some noises on the phone and so on. I might put some of those in, but really they're irrelative really. But I can tell you that The standard FX Moderator was about 103 decibels it recorded. The Huggett Mini Magna 2, that was about 101 decibels, and the Astille, Huggett Astille, was about 100 decibels at its peak of when it was recorded. And then with the additional bit there, it was even quieter. It was like 98, 99, something like that. But to be honest, I think for me those numbers didn't really mean a lot, because you're looking at 3 or 4 decibels difference, which I don't know what a decibel really is, and so on there. But I might put a couple of those up just so you can see what I'm on about. I'll decide that later on. So let me sum up what I found about these moderators. So first off, the FX standard moderator, like I keep saying, it's a perfectly adequate bit of kit. Particularly, obviously I live in the UK, in England, southwest, keep telling you guys this. Most air rifles in the UK are sub 12 foot-pounds, which is the legal limit. If you're shooting a sub 12 foot-pound, I've got my Wildcat Mark 1 sub 12 foot-pound. If you're shooting that, that's more than adequate, I'm telling you, without a doubt. But even I've had this Huggett on this Wildcat for several years, for a long time, which is why I originally thought about Huggets and so on. I will dry fire this in the kitchen. There's no magazine in it, no pellets in it, perfectly safe. It'll probably sound loud in here, but at 12 foot-pounds, it makes no noise at all. It sounds like the gun's broken to me now after shooting my FAC rifles. It just doesn't sound at all. And that moderator on there will be perfectly adequate. Now when I say adequate, that's fine. But who wouldn't want a moderator like that on their gun, eh? I definitely would. And I have on that one there. Now as you go up in power, obviously the rifle makes a lot more noise. And that's where this starts to lose its efficiency, I guess, if you like. I think what I've learned is volume definitely makes a big difference in moderators. But who wants a dustbin can on the end of their airgun, yeah? And so, if you don't want a big can on the end of your air rifle, the way to lower the noise without making it more volume, if you like, is through engineering and build design and so on. So this is just an empty can. Inside of these, this is the insert for the Astille. You can add, well, you could add more than one, you could add 2, 3, 4 I guess, but this is the insert. So all these have this sound deadening material, a perforated inner piece and so on. So it's the design that obviously makes them quiet. And certainly the design of these Huggets, superb. This one you may or may not like so much. The more I look at it and the longer I've had it, the more I like it more than every other moderator you look out there is designed like this, because it's the easiest and best and works design. It's just a cylinder, isn't it? Mind you, it still looks fantastic, doesn't it? But that looks a bit different. Yeah, might be chalk and cheese to some of you guys out there. I quite like it, and I'm going to have it on my Impact. But I will say, this moderator definitely works. It really does work. Okay, so, like I said, there's a massive of moderators out there of different types and different people making them. Now, the biggest ones out there at the moment definitely seem to be the Donny FLs, which I was just going to go out and buy a Donny FL because everyone does with their FX Impacts. But then I did a search online and I've already had a Huggett on my impact, on my Wildcat, and I thought, yeah, let's do Huggett. Let's see, you know, about them. And yeah, I mean, you will not get anything that's made better. Not better than this, as good as. I'm sure Donny FLs and so on are made really well. The materials that these are made out of are second to none. Absolutely second to none. And the design of them is also second to none. Absolutely lovely things. So yeah. And the weight of them is also, I was surprised quite how light they were. I did have my hands on some Donny FLs in the shop, and that's another thing that would be really good when you go to the gun shop. If I could have took my gun in and tried some of the different Donny FLs, because there's so many Donny FLs out there, you know, long ones, thin ones, stubby fat ones, and that's something else I've noticed just by trying these 3 different ones here. A different shape and a different volume and so on will give a different tone to however your air rifle is tuned, and that's quite big. And when you're looking at all those great airgun channels out there, okay, the Americans and the South Africans, and they've all got every silencer that's made by those people, and they can try all those different ones on their gun and decide which one is best. If you could go down the gun shop and screw a few different ones on there and see what was best for you, you'd undoubtedly get the best silencer for you. But unmistakably, any of those products will quieten the gun down and so on. But for me, what made the biggest difference, and I don't know how to explain it, is that the noise is only half of the job for me. Cutting the actual noise down is half the job. The other half of the job is the tone it is to your ears. So this empty can has quite a bright, if that's the right word, if you understand what I mean, has quite has quite a bright noise to it. Whereas these have a dull noise to them. I'm hoping that makes sense to you guys. I don't know how to oh my god. This is going to look really stupid, isn't it? Me with a saucepan in my hand. So that's a really bright noise that you can hear from a long way off, as opposed to, obviously, I'll have to hit this a lot harder to make the same noise. But you'd hear that saucepan a lot further off, I think, than you would. And they might be making the same decibel noise. Does that make sense to you guys? One is a much brighter noise. And I think I show that in my videos. They dull the noise down so much. Even though this does sound a lot quieter, but I think it's the pitch of the noise, for me, in my ears, that makes it much quieter. The actual decibel readings, I don't think make a big difference to me. It's the pitch. This one goes twang, if you like twang. This one goes doof, doof, doof. I don't know. There you go. See what you think. Now, another thing I want to mention, which I'm not sure, you guys out there might have your own preference on. When I was on the websites looking at prices, blah blah blah, Donny FLs, a lot of the websites said, so this is a FX Impact 0.25. They said, if you've got a 0.25, then buy a 0.30 silencer. And I'm trying to get my head around that. I can see the reason for it. It might be the size or the volume. It allows the air to go through a bit more. But when I was doing my original emails back and forwards with the Huggett guys and Andrew Huggett, he did mention to me the possibility of the Astille clipping on the 0.25. Okay, I had no clipping at all with any of these silencers in any of the calibers, even by adding different ones of these. I would say just while I'm mentioning it, when I added this, maybe my groups opened up a tiny bit by adding this. And when I mean a tiny bit, I mean it's for pest control. It would make absolutely no difference at all. The point of impact will change, obviously, and you'd have to change that. But maybe the groups opened up. But I had no clipping issues at all. And when you say clipping, I don't think clipping nowadays is your pellet or projectile actually hitting the silencer. Yeah, these are made fabulously well, and if you screw one of these on your barrel and it actually hits it, then you've got a duff one. It's not made right yet. I think it's more about how the air goes through and leaves the moderator and how it disturbs your pellet or slug out of that. And I'm thinking that maybe that's the reason why a Donny FL, they would say buy a 30 cal if you've got a 25. I don't know. It's just my thoughts going around in my head. But what difference does it make as long as the silencer goes on the end and it does what it's meant to do? That's sort of fine. So yeah, really to sum it up, these are wonderful products. Okay, you know, you pay your money, you choose your one, and I'm sure you'll be happy with whatever you get. But if you certainly go for a Huggett, you won't find anything that's manufactured any better than these things. I tell you, they're made absolutely superb. I've had no problems with them, like I say, clipping wise or anything like that. The only one problem I have, and that is with the mini Magna 2s. And when I say problem, you'll think I'm being silly, but have a look at that on the end of there. It looks lovely. Got that lovely silver writing there, and it says the Huggett Magna, made in the UK. Great. Airgun use only. I'm sorry, Mr. Huggett, but after I've done this review, I'll be getting my black marker pen out and colouring that in. Okay, just because if I was just shooting at the range, that's fine. I'd be proud to have that on there and to show it. But going out in the field, I'll just put a black marker pen to that, even though it probably would make no difference at all. It might be a bit shiny, so I'm going to put a marker pen around that and just colour those in black. So I better wrap it up, otherwise I could go on and on and on forever. So I hope you found some information on this video helpful. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. Take a look at all my other videos, yeah, you might like that sort of channel and so on. So click the subscribe button, and you'll see some more videos from me soon, guys. So I better wrap it up, otherwise it'll be another hour-long review. Thanks very much, guys. See you again soon.